Greetings and Chatelet, everyone. This is going to be quite a treat. This is the Beyerdynamic Lagoon. Like, you remember the creature from the whatever lagoon? So many years ago. Decades even. Nothing decades old about this. This is pretty modern. Maybe it's a year old. But never too late. So anyway, this headphone is one of the most neutral headphones I've ever taken out of a box. Today, after some reasonable amount of burn-in time, I've played around with the equalization and test tones and music and quite a bit of sampling, and decided that but the only thing I've done on this is reduce the mid bass around, let's say 85 hertz down about -3, although I may bring that up to -2. I mean, it's that neutral that I can just about get it down to 1 decibel. I haven't really done a critical analysis of the treble yet in a very quiet place where I can pick up the most sensitive of those things that people run into with their head transfer functions or whatever they call that. And by the way, check out my YouTube header to explain about the comments. Also note my website where you can get a hold of me, and so on and so forth. Anyway, as an ordinary headphone, I'm using it with a V-motor cable right now for the plugging directly into lightning port on the Apple iPhone. I keep all my tunes on my iPhone in WAV format, 256 gigabytes in there, so I've got plenty of space. And using that in the equalizer, and then either this pseudo DAC here or my Dragonfly Red at home, or even the Oppo HA2 and various other things, amps and so on, I get a pretty good idea of what these things sound like compared to the other 200 headphones. This is just amazing. I've had some of the low-cost Beyerdynamics, the Street, and some other one, everything else that were, I don't know, aimed at a more popular sound, perhaps kind of uneven, I think, in the mids. But this thing here, phenomenal. So anyway, I went to the Bluetooth, which worked perfectly first time, and then listened to that compared to wired. Had to pull the plug out, and if there's a 1 decibel difference, that's just about all there is. But again, that's not a critical comparison. Then I switched on noise canceling. The noise diminished, and the tone didn't change hardly any, if any. So there's when you're out riding on the plane or doing something like that, you really need noise canceling and everything else. You're not going to miss a decibel or whatever if it happens to have a little 1 decibel peak somewhere. So, no consequence. I just find the sound the same in all three, which, unlike certain other brands who only get a good sound in DSP mode because they need equalization for a poor design, this thing here is, when it's in passive mode, it's really in passive mode. There's no electronics on, and it just sounds virtually perfect. So we got a great Beyerdynamic design, a very neutral sound, luxurious pads and all that sort of thing. And you notice the little increase in the pads down here, the thickness, which is exactly right for most heads, to get a less leakage down on the bottom part of your head in the back. So that's a great idea. The headband design is just better than ideal. I'm wearing it at position number 6 out of 12 positions. So I'm right in the middle of that. So it's designed for average heads, smaller heads, and larger heads. This may be the most, one of a rare headphone to be that perfect in terms of the size. I've got some of these little ones that are sized for huge heads, which makes no sense really. Very luxurious amount of padding on this headband. Very luxurious amount of padding. Very soft, very nice. And the ear pads, besides being the right shape, or some kind, they call it, I think, protein leather, but this stuff is really nice, really good. I mean, if this, over a period of time, if I don't think this will absorb hardly any sweat, but if there's any deterioration here at all, I'm going to order me some extra ear pads, but I don't need to change a type of ear pad for sure, because these sound perfect. And the inside ear cup depth isn't all that deep, and there is something that you can feel in here, part of the driver protection or whatever it is. So if you're looking for something with really deep ear pads, this isn't going to be real deep. But anyway, they go around my average size ears with room to spare. So you'd have to have really big ears to not fit this one. The whole assembly, there's a lot of, I guess there's a fair amount of plastic in here. Maybe the headband outer parts here, and then the part of the ear cups here and everything else. But I can tell you that, of course, the headband here is a good strong metal spring here. But I can tell you that the ear pad design acoustically must be just fabulous. Like I said, unlike a lot of these other headphones that achieve sound through a DSP, which isn't all that good. Wow, what an amazing find. This cost me $400. I bought it from Beyerdynamic Direct, New York. And I just can't say good enough about it. Like I said, I'm using it wired, but I tried ANC and also the Bluetooth, which paired up just perfectly right away. And weight of this seems to be, I'm just going to guess, it's kind of a medium weight, maybe even a little on the heavy side for the size. It's probably about, who knows, 12, 13, 14 ounces. But with the kind of padding it has and everything else, it's like a feather. So great build, sound, just this is so amazing. I can't remember another Bluetooth headphone that just sounded that perfect out of the box in wired or Bluetooth. Just absolutely amazing. Here's the carry case, nice flat carry case. Kind of reminds me of some of those Bose cases in a way that they used to have. Made to store pretty flat. You know, you fold the thing up and you can see where the ear cups go right here. And it kind of reminds me of a violin case in a way. Of course, it doesn't have a neck on it, at least not much of one. Maybe like a mandolin case, but the motif on here seems to be like a microphone stand or something, which, you know, their original headphones were called dynamic telephones. So between the headset and the microphones and everything else, that's their core of their business or their reputation. And well, very nice carry case. You could put this in anywhere, backpack or luggage or whatever. And I left the outer box at home, just another box, you know, with markings on the outside, and a booklet. And of course, you can download a booklet online and get your instructions that way. In fact, the instructions are very simple in that booklet, and it was all that was needed. Now, if you get one of these apps that supposedly tunes the sound and all that, you need to do that. Well, okay, you know, I'm not doing any of that. And I don't think I would need to, because I want my headphone tuned, if I tune it, to sound exactly like live music, like I hear live music. So you and I go to the concert together, we hear it. Doesn't matter that our ears are different, as long as we don't have any hearing damage, and both of us agree that we like the sound of the live music. And even if we hear it differently, if our headphone sounds the same as what we heard there in person, then the headphone's neutral. It's doing its job as a neutral reproducer of music. And hey, you know, that's what I want. I want it to sound exactly like what I hear live, and it does, or pretty close. So can't say enough good about this. Beyerdynamic Lagoon, of all things, and very highly recommended. $400, well worth it. And that's all I got. I might do another review later, but that's my preliminary on this one. Thank you very much.